Episode 10, I Am Become Death, marks the beginning of the third and final arc of this season, I believe. So everyone on the Exodus ship is smoked to a crisp. The 100 are on the site of the explosion and they're trying to figure out why it crashed. They also discover a substance called hydrazine, highly unstable in its non-solid form. And if that stuff meets fire, fire in the hole! So they clear the area. Back at camp, everyone is on high alert. Their security patrol has tripled post-shooting. And Jasper is spinning some stories. He's telling some tales about what happened on the bridge and how he was so brave during it all. And he stayed so calm too. And because of that, he starts to get a little bit of an ego. It starts going to his head. He starts blowing off Monty, his best friend, because he says he's not like him anymore. He's cool now. And Monty's not having it. And he's reading him in like the nicest way that you could read anybody.
People think I'm cool and that upsets you.
No, I think you're cool. Only no one had to die for me to see it.
Someone gets caught by the security patrol, and it's Murphy. He's back. He looks awful. Not that I would know anything about that. Bellamy and co are not happy about Murphy being back. He says that he was running away from the Grounders, and Bellamy wants to kill him, but Clark doesn't let him because he was taken by the Grounders. He was with the Grounders. He probably has information that they can use. So he can stay until he gets better. He can tell them everything that he knows about the Grounders, and after that, if he still doesn't want to leave, Bellamy can shoot him. A little bit after Murphy comes into camp, people start acting weird. They're coughing and they're vomiting blood. Clark starts crying blood, and I'm so upset because I had a little thing of blood that I could have put on my eyes, but I can't find it. I looked for it for like 20 minutes. I failed you today.
I need you to tell me exactly how you escaped from the Grounders. What happened?
And I woke up and they forgot to lock my cage. There was no one there, so I took off.
They let you go. Biological warfare. You were waiting for the Grounders to retaliate for the bridge. This is it. Murphy's the weapon.
It's a pandemic, baby. They let him go. They let him escape so he could carry whatever disease they gave him to the Hundreds camp. Very smart. They figure out that the plague spreads through contact. It's a good thing it's not by like body fluids or the air or anything. That would suck. And we get our first casualty from the plague. It was the person that first found Murphy. So this plague acts very fast. What do? Quarantine!
Here. Alcohol. Hold out your hand.
What do we do?
Quarantine.
Octavia was also one of the first people that found Murphy. So Bellamy goes to find her because he thinks that she's dying, but she's not. She's chilling. She's reading Lincoln's journal. She has no symptoms. She still gets examined by Clark, and she tells her that even though she's not symptomatic, she should still quarantine. It'll be good because it's a safety precaution, and also she tells Bellamy it's a good thing because it means that she can't sneak out again.
Octavia, wait. I need you to sneak out again.
She sounds like an exhausted mother. Poor thing. Octavia goes to see Lincoln, who knows about the plague, and she asks for an antidote, but there isn't one. He says that few people are immune to the plague and that Octavia apparently is one of them. He also says that this is a Grounder tactic to soften the battlefield before an attack, and that the Grounders will attack at first light. And he can't do anything about it this time because his people deem him a traitor for what happened at the bridge and also for him canoodling with the enemy. Lincoln is planning to leave and he asks Octavia to go with him. They want to go east. And she says yes, but she needs to go warn the others about the attack first. Back at camp, people are dropping like flies and panic ensues because people who they didn't think were infected and weren't quarantined were infected, and they start showing symptoms, coughing on people, vomiting on people, and those people then freak out and they go and touch other people. And maybe when I first watched this in 2014, I would think that seems a little unrealistic, but somehow after seeing how people behave during quarantine, no, that sounds about right. Clark is having none of it. She grabs a gun, she fires it, she gives a speech.
This is exactly what the Grounders want. Don't you see that? They don't have to kill us if we kill each other
They
first.
won't have to kill us if we all catch the virus. Get back in the damn dropship!
To state the obvious, but your quarantine isn't working.
Octavia comes in to warn everybody about the attack. So now we're prepping for an attack. Clark is not doing good. She looks worse and worse, but Murphy is feeling better. So apparently this plague either kills you really fast or it's quick to pass. Finn has an idea. He wants to blow up a bridge that connects their camp to the Grounders' camp so they can delay the Grounders' arrival. So at least it'll give their people a chance to feel better and to get better, and will give them a fighting chance. It won't stop them fully, but it could help them survive. Raven gets some of the very unstable chemical thing and uses it to make an explosive. They need someone to shoot this explosive bomb from afar, but Bellamy gets sick, so he can't do it. So he recruits nervous wreck of a human being, Jasper. He was the only one who wasn't sick. Meanwhile, Murphy is being such a good boy. He's helping on the dropship. He gives Clark his bed. He's tending to the wounded. He's doing really good. Bellamy is not doing so good. Bellamy is in very bad shape. Octavia helps to bring him to the dropship where they have a little moment.
I'm scared.
I won't let anything happen to you. I promise.
That's what I said to you the day you were born.
I know. You told me that like 1,000 times.
We also see Bellamy on the brink of death saying he's scared and he doesn't want to die, which is a huge turnaround from a couple of episodes ago where he was begging Hallucination Jaha to put him out of his misery. And I love that for him. And I hate that this is all we get. It doesn't get developed at all. Clark is okay. She's feeling better. She's not gonna die. Raven beats Jasper and co. to the bridge. She decides to just do it herself, plant everything herself, take the shot herself, which, to be fair, under normal circumstances, I think my girl could do it. But she is also sick, and she's stumbling through the woods. She's trying to make it there, and she's trying to set everything up without passing out. And is that the sound from the little sleeping chain thing from the Mario games? She does manage to set it up, but she cannot get far away enough before she needs to take the shot. So Girly is ready to fully take herself and the Grounders and the bridge out. But Finn finds her, gets to her, whisks her way to safety, and tells Jasper to shoot the bomb. He tries, but fails a few times, and he's out of bullets until Monty shows up with 3 more bullets for dramatic effect and gives Jasper a pep talk, and Jasper does it. The bridge gets blown up. There's a big mushroom cloud of smoke, and Clark quotes Oppenheimer.
I am become death, destroyer of worlds. It's Oppenheimer, the man who built the first.
I know who Oppenheimer is.
He's not just a pretty know-nothing. He's a pretty know-some things. Is this a good time for me to say that we've seen this bridge? We've seen this river. What is the plan with slowing down the Grounders? I mean, yeah, it could slow them down by like 10 minutes. They can swim across it. They have pretty primal, non-technological weapons. They wouldn't get affected by the water. They have horses. It really doesn't seem like the river is that deep. Anyway, Octavia goes to meet Lincoln, but she decides she does not want to run away with him. She can't leave her people, not only because she can't abandon her brother, but also because she's built real bonds and connections with these people, with the rest of the 100 like Clark and Jasper and Monty, and she's not going to leave them behind. Blow Up Bridge crew comes back victorious. Raven is healing and going on about Finn not hesitating when Clark fell, even though she was sick and he was probably going to get sick. But he did hesitate when they were deciding on who was going to blow up the bomb. But I do like this. I do like this because she dumps his ass.
I love you.
Not the way that I want to be loved.
Yes, Raven!
Not the way that you love Clark.
Okay. Yay! Great news for me. Clark and Bellamy are now outside digging some more graves, and we learn that there is a new enemy that we're going to need to look out for in the future called the Mountain Men. This was the warning Lincoln gave to Octavia, and now they're deciding what to do about Murphy, if he should be forgiven or not. Hey guys, don't! Because Murphy is currently suffocating someone. Connor was the one who put the noose around Murphy's neck during the public hanging, and he isn't, by the way. He was keeping Clark away when this was happening. He's nowhere near Murphy when he gets the noose around his neck. He was the one who was initially like, we should off this guy, but details, people. Bye, Connor. Episode 11, The Calm. We are very close to the finale. It's been 2 days post-bombing of the bridge, and all is quiet, all is calm for now. Apparently, the bomb was also used as a deterrent to make the 100 seem more powerful and like they had more weapons than they actually did. So the Grounders would think twice before they came to attack, fearing that they had more bombs in their arsenal. This does make more sense than my theory about them not wanting to swim. I will give them that. But Clark and Bellamy don't think that this has dissuaded the Grounders at all. So they're preparing other methods of defense, such as landmines. Sounds good, guys? And now they actually can't make contact with the Ark again, since there is no electricity there after the Exodus ship left. And they think that they finally ran out of air. And they think that they are now the only survivors. Meanwhile, Octavia gets slut-shamed.
You don't want the fire too big, so maybe just try to knock it down with some wet leaves.
You get that from your boyfriend? Grounder Pounder?
They're calling her Grounder Pounder, which I hate it. Yes, let's shame the 16-year-old who's never had a life and not the fully grown, frontal lobe developed 25-year-old who kidnapped her a bunch of times and knocked her unconscious a bunch of times. Sure, Finn is being a real soppy, wet boy. He's going up to Raven, who is literally in the middle of duplicating bullets. This girl is busy. She's using one bullet to make 2 bullets because they're running low on bullets. And he says he has to apologize again for how things ended. And Raven's like, okay. And he finds a way to make this about himself, saying that she always does this when she's upset. She finds a project, so she has something to do with her hands, and she doesn't punch people. Until she says, hey, not doing a project, literally just trying to keep you guys alive.
I'm not keeping busy, Finn. I'm keeping us alive. I gotta get this done.
Mommy's working. Please get out. There's a fire in the smokehouse. They have a smokehouse. They built a smokehouse. And everyone's very upset because all the food is gone. All the food is gone? That was all the food? You've been here for several weeks. There's almost 100 of you, and that was all the food? Whatever, they set up some hunting groups so they can go get more food. But they need to be careful because the Grounders are out there. Finn wants to tag along with Clark, but this one kid also wants to tag along with them. Well, he wants to tag along with Clark, mainly.
Awesome. Haven't really got a chance to hang with you guys much. Hey, do you even know how I got arrested on the Ark?
I'm dying to hear about it.
And my theory is that this kid is the show's way of being like, hey, we know that there's supposed to be like 90 people around here who we should be focusing on at all times. And you never get to see them all in one place. And you don't know all their names. And you don't know all their stories. We know. And we don't care. And that's okay because you don't care. And they're right, I don't. And neither do Clark and Finn. Bellamy and Raven are having a heart-to-heart. And we as the audience know that it's because they're both crushing on someone who isn't interested in them. Bellamy, I believe, loves Clark at this point. And I will not hear it. She doesn't. But he does. Bellamy stops Raven from going into the woods by herself and asks her to find another way to help them survive. And she thinks about it for 0.2 seconds and she thinks, walkie-talkies. If we're going to fight, we need to be able to communicate with each other. Bellamy also says that she is brilliant, even though she's a real pain in his ass. And I have issues with this. This woman has done nothing but be extremely helpful to everyone. She saved your asses. She forgave you for leaving her in the pod and stealing her radio, for threatening to kill her boyfriend multiple times. I've been recording for so long, my SD card got full. So what is the, are you recording? What's going on? Why are we flashing at me? Let's fix this, I guess. And it's 3:30 in the morning. I am dedicated to this craft. Then, later on in the episode, Raven goes back to Bellamy because she's upset because the hunting group is back and Clark and Finn are not back. And Bellamy tells her that she needs to move on. And she says that's what she's doing. And she starts taking off her clothes. And then she tells him that she's never been with anyone but Finn. And then she tells Bellamy to take off his clothes. And then he doesn't. So she takes off all of her clothes and they get it on. It's really weird. Not only do I not like them together as characters in general, they're more like they're pals energy, but also Bellamy doesn't seem to be into it. Raven doesn't seem to be into it. Listen, I love an enemies to lovers story, but this is more like acquaintances to lovers, neighbors to lovers. He even asks her if it helped afterwards, and she says, nope, walks away. What the fuck was that for? Monty tells Raven that the hunting groups are back, but Clark and Finn are not. She knows.
So, all the hunters are back, except Clark and Finn.
Okay.
Raven, they were with another kid. Miles.
All three of them are still out there?
Oh, threesome? No, actually, Clark and Finn were doing some tracking next to some perfectly placed boar tracks. Good job, guys. Good tracking. That's actually the point, is that the tracks are too perfect, and they were put there by the grounders to lure them in. And I am so proud that I saw that before our characters, before our tracker saw that. And I thought it was just lazy, like, set design, but no. Damn, I'm taking L's in these last couple episodes. Miles, who's the name of the other kid that went on the hunting trip with them, gets shot, and Clark and Finn get kidnapped by the grounders, but they don't want to kill them. They want Clark to help a random girl who needs medical attention. They say that their healer, Lincoln, is gone, and they know that Clark is her crew's healer. So they tell her to help the girl, and if the girl dies, then Finn dies. Clark doesn't have any medical supplies, but she does her best. She improvises. This girl is about to do a blood transfusion with a needle, but it's not enough. And this little girl, who was a soldier for the grounders and got wounded in the bridge explosion made by the 100, passes away. Very sad, very messed up. Time for a side note. I am obsessed with the perfect American accents in the show.
Take him away and kill him.
No.
Although I guess if only 100 years have passed, not only was the English language in this area of the world, which is the United States, I Googled it, they landed on the US, of course. The English language isn't extinct, it's continued. It's not the main language, and we'll get into that in season 2, but people do speak it still. But then again, 100 years also doesn't seem like enough time for them to revert back into primal living and live in trees and caves. And I'll save that for another rant. But you know what's even funnier than seeing all of these scary looking other grounders speak in perfect English, American English, is that most people in our core cast aren't even from America. They don't even have American accents. Eliza Taylor and Bob Morley, who play Clark and Bellamy, are from Australia. Ian Henry Cusick, who plays Kane, is Peruvian and Scottish. And I only noticed his accent, like his Scottish accent, bleeding through a little bit on this episode.
We have about a dozen survivors.
As a non-native English-speaking girly, I was very impressed. Ricky Whittle, who plays Lincoln, is British. And I'm now realizing that his last name is supposed to be pronounced like Whittle or something and not Whittle. Ricky Whittle. Even Anya in this scene with Clark and Finn, she's also Australian and Tibetan. But in the show, perfect American accents all around. And while going down this rabbit hole of where the cast members are from, I also found out that most cast members are all not American. Most of them are Canadian. All of them are Canadian. So I made a chart of our main cast of the 100 and how many of the people that we have playing Americans are actually American. Why is that crazy to me? Why is that so funny? In this show specifically. I even looked at other CW shows being like, wow, do they just have a thing for Canadians? They do, but it's never as many as on this show. Anyway, back to this show. Because this little girl is dead, they order Finn to be killed. And to save him, Clark murders someone in cold blood with a knife to the neck, similar to what she did with Adam in the physical act, only this was not a mercy kill at all. And she does that after acting completely shocked and flabbergasted that this guy had killed people in combat because they were talking about that.
Those marks on her shoulder. What were they? Lincoln has them too.
Each scar marks a kill in combat.
It's a lot.
And half were after I hurt my knee.
Kind of a sleigh, literally. Back at camp, the group gets their walkie-talkies to work, and they go out to find Clark and Finn, but they only find Miles. And Monty disappears, leaving behind his walkie-talkie. Episode 12, We Are Grounders, Part 1. So how are things going on the Ark? Is everyone dead? No. Kane wakes up disoriented and alone. And honestly, I'm a little bored with this section. Most of what I'm about to tell you now happened in the last episode, but I'm going to tell you now. What you need to know is that the Ark people got separated with a crash, and some areas are fully blocked off. Power and oxygen are running out. Jaha is in the control center, diverting power from one section to the other for whoever needs it. But he says that his section and the people that are with him in the control center is completely blocked off, and he wants to save as many people as possible before their oxygen runs out. Lots of things happen, lots of obstacles get thrown in their way. Kane meets a guy called Wheeler, who is a mechanic. You'll need to know that for later. And Kane refuses to let Jaha sacrifice himself again.
I won't leave you to die.
As your chancellor, I am ordering you to gather as many survivors as you can and lead them to the mess hall. Jaha out.
And he goes and he rescues Jaha. Now that is enemies to lovers. Jaha says that he is disobeying a direct order from him, that he's breaking the law by coming back for him. And Kane says that the people in this room are the ones that are the best equipped to save them and to help them. Growth, 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 growth. Also, it turns out there are survivors in the bay from the Exodus ship separation thing. They left the ship, the drop ship, before it closed, apparently, even though no, they didn't, because we didn't see anyone leave and there was only one door. But guess who's there? And guess who Kane is very excited to see? It's Abby! She wasn't on the ship. She did not get barbecued. She's alive. And that is enemies to lovers.
Abby, wake up.
In this episode, Jaha is giving a speech to the survivors of the Ark, and Jaha is ready to throw in the towel. He's telling people to find their peace, that there's nothing that they can do, that the 100 will be their legacy on the ground. I swear, this man is always ready to just give up and die. You'll see. Evie has an itty bitty little bit of a mental breakdown coming face to face with her mortality, but mostly the fact that she will never get to see Clark again and that Clark will probably hate her for the rest of her life. And she gets a nice little pep talk from Jackson, who is one of her juniors, we assume. And he's been around for a while, but he hasn't had many lines. This is the most screen time that he gets. And he seems genuinely really sweet.
Hey, so actually, I cannot show you anything from the final 2 episodes of The 100 because YouTube really said, we're blocking this video, which is why it's split into 2 parts to begin with. So enjoy the stills and also my dramatic reenactments. She's just strong-willed, like her mom. You gave her that. That's how you're protecting her. And that's what will keep her alive on the ground. Is that good? Wow, I'm really sorry about that. I'm trying to figure out the best way to give you as much content as possible without YouTube fully blocking the video. If you want the old version with all the clips, it'll be on my Patreon.
And yeah, that's kind of all you can say in a situation like this. And it's kind of what Abby needs to hear, that her daughter is strong, she raised her well, and she will survive on the ground. She'll be okay. Clark is not okay. Clark is hanging upside down in the forest post unaliving someone and running away. She gets captured by Anya again and she gets taken hostage. And we learn that in Grounder World, there's T, there's different units, groups, crews, you could call them. And a different group of Grounders shows up and Anya asks if the commander sent them. I know, girls and gays and days, I know. Okay, I know. But you're gonna have to wait just a little bit longer, okay? Apparently, this new group that's different from Anya's group is even more brutal. They all see a fire signal and they say that it means there's Reapers, whatever that means. And Anya asks if the boy, meaning Finn, is dead. And the other guy says yes. And Clark is crushed. She orders one of her goons to kill Clark, which is a classic way for a protagonist to not die, is when a goon gets ordered to carry out an execution. Meanwhile, the other person just walks away. They walk away because they're scared of these Reapers and they know that the fire signal is a warning signal. The goon, instead of killing Clark, takes her instead on horseback while she's unconscious, which I don't know how that even works. And I just noticed on like my 4th rewatch that they have mutant horses. They're so cute. He takes her to the place where the fire signal was lit, and there is Finn, who is unharmed. He is not dead, and that is no goon. That's Lincoln. He came back. He really does love distracting his people with life-threatening signals. But now they're on the run from Anya because he knows that she knows that Clark is not dead. So they go into these mines, which they say is Reaper territory, whatever that means. Lincoln has an arrow in him, again, somehow, and Clark tries to help him and tells him that this is gonna hurt and he should probably bite down on something.
He's saying that they're so soft and they will never survive if they don't toughen up. And Clark just rips the arrow from his body with no warning. It's beautiful.
Exactly. She has such a blank face while she's doing it as well. Love her. They do find these Reapers. Apparently, it's just a group of other Grounders, and they are indeed quite savage-like. They are fighting in these caves, and they have what is a pile of almost dead bodies in mine carts, and they're eating people? They're cannibals? Lincoln creates a distraction so Clark and Finn can run away, but they get caught, and Finn has to kill one of the Reapers in self-defense. But afterwards, he really struggles with it, and he's trying to wash his hands over and over again, even though there's no more blood on them. And he goes from this to telling Clark that he loves her, that he is in love with her. They have known each other for 2 weeks. And it's fine. It's okay for Bellamy to be in love with Clark. Okay, that makes sense. Finn? Back at camp, the 100 are preparing for another Grounder attack. They are setting up traps. They're falling asleep while on patrol and firing bullets while doing so. Murphy continues on his murdering spree. He tries to suffocate a guy, telling him that this is for tying the noose that they used to hang him. And he also says, say hi to Colin. And I was like, Colin?
Say hi to Connor.
Have I been calling him Connor and his name's Colin? I mean, I'm bad at names, but Jesus. But no, it is Connor. But the subtitles say Colin.
Say hi to Connor.
Can't gaslight me. I don't remember anyone's name. Don't do that. But Jasper catches Murphy just after he does the deed. So Murphy threatens him with a gun.
It's cool.
Hey, I mean, I never liked that guy anyway. Murphy locks himself in the dropship and he has Jasper as a hostage. And Octavia comes in and says,
Look around, no one's working. If the grounders attack us right now, we're all dead.
Murphy! If you even touch Jasper, I swear to God, you're
I got
dead.
this. Really? Because it doesn't look like you're doing anything about it.
Iconic. Octavia is heating up. She's been cooking in the baddie factory and she's almost ready. Bellamy was actually doing something. He, together with Raven, was trying to see if there was an entrance from the back, and Raven says that there is and that they can sneak in. So Octavia apologizes, although it's the least heartfelt apology ever.
Sorry.
Bellamy starts distracting Murphy and he offers himself to Murphy instead of Jasper, so he lets Jasper go. Bellamy goes in, and this buys Raven enough time to go under the dropship so she can sneak up behind him. And they find a bunch more of that highly unstable, highly flammable liquid under the dropship so they can make more bombs. Murphy, of course, wants Bellamy to die the same way that he almost did, by hanging. And Bellamy obliges. He's just buying time while Murphy monologues in the corner. And he's trying to give Raven and Jasper enough time to hotwire the main entrance door so people can come in and they can save him. Murphy hears noise coming from below them, so he starts shooting at them, which is a terrible idea. And this distraction gives Raven enough time to hotwire the dropship door so the 100 that were waiting outside can barge in and save Bellamy. But the door opening does spook him off and he runs away. Bellamy was fully hanging by the time they come in, but they cut him down. He's not great, but he's fine. He's alive. And Murphy escapes by blowing a hole on the side of the dropship. Bellamy is not wasting any time. He's making a plan. They're going out and they're getting Clark and Finn and Monty. And they're also going to fight off the grounders. Jasper hugs Bellamy as a thank you, and he also says that Bellamy has come a very long way from whatever the hell we want. Because now he's out saving everybody. That's my Bellamy. Clark and Finn run back into camp. They don't need to be saved. They saved themselves, or Lincoln did. They escaped the mines and they heard the explosion, so they ran back into camp. And this run by Clark is really taking me out. The 100 are torn on what to do because some people want to stay and they want to fight the grounders, and some want to leave. And Finn's acting is atrocious in this scene, by the way.
Unlike anything we've ever seen coming for us right now, we need to pack what we can and run.
And Bellamy's voice sounds a little weird. I was gonna say maybe the actor just, had a cough or a cold and they couldn't reshoot it. But then I remembered that he's supposed to have just been choked out, was hanging. It makes sense. It makes sense for continuity. I do appreciate that. You know that. And I bet that hurt his voice too, because the difference is big.
This is our home now.
Speaking of another fun fact for you all, Bob Morley, Bellamy's actor, his voice is very different from Bellamy's character. Not only in the accent being different, but just the tone and the depth and just the way that he pronounces certain words and the emphasis that he puts on certain words. It's very deep and it's very raspy. It's very throaty. And he did that just for the character. He's talked about it as well. And from what I remember, I think it gets less intense as the seasons go on, but my throat is hurting just thinking about that. That cannot be good for your vocal cords.
I'd imagine there'd have to be some strong words. I mean, she kind of just abandoned him to go do her own thing, and they were supposed to do it together.
For the cameras, can you give us a little bit of Bellamy?
Bellamy?
Yeah.
For Bellamy, I always say, I like this grand piano. I really like this grand piano.
Bellamy gives a very raspy voiced speech. He's saying that they built the camp by themselves with their bare hands and that the grounders cannot take that away. They are on the ground now. They are grounders. And honestly, that was cool as hell. I can't lie. Clarke joins in. Initially, you think that she's going to agree with Bellamy and she's also going to rally the troops. She's saying that if they go, yes, they might face other dangers and they have no idea what's out there. But she's also saying that if they stay, it's for sure that they will die tonight. She says there's an ocean to the east, and beyond this ocean, there are people that are willing to help them, which is the information that Lincoln gave them. And oh my God, do they mean Portugal? They mean Europe, geographically speaking. That makes sense. But like Portugal would be, you know, close to northern eastern US. Babe, we will welcome you with open arms. Come over. Meanwhile, Raven, you know, who was at the bottom of the dropship saving everybody hot wiring the door, walks in and she's been shot and she had to crawl herself out of the dropship, walk herself into camp and be like, hey guys, little help? This poor woman. Back on the Ark, Jaha is watching some old home movies. It's little Clarke and little Wells, and they look so cute. Remember Wells? And of course, the conversation that he's watching is very pertinent to their current situation.
Daddy, how does the Ark stay in space? That's a good question. By keeping out of the Earth's gravitational pull.
My daddy says it's the thrusters.
Father, the thrusters! And this gives Jaha an idea. His plan is to use the Ark as the escape pod itself. And I love this plan. I love the music that plays. I love the tension. I love the buildup. I think it's really well made.
From where I stand, we have two options. Die in space, or probably die trying to get to the ground. We have no more Exodus ships, sir. You're wrong, Kane. There is one. We call it the Ark.
The issue is that the Ark will break apart upon descent because it'll just fracture. And Jaha asks Sinclair, do you know who Sinclair is? He's also like a tech person. I don't know if he stays for season 2. If he does, I'll introduce him properly. He asks him to pinpoint the spots where they're less likely to burst into flames when they enter Earth. And the truth is, yeah, if they stay on the Ark and they do nothing, they die. If they try this plan, they might die, but they might not. I like this plan. Go Jaha. We made it to the final episode of the season. It is 4 a.m. We are Grounders Part 2. Let's go, baby. Clarke is cauterizing Raven's wound with the bullet still inside her because she doesn't have a way to safely extract it. For now, it's just gonna stay there. Easy peasy. But she can't walk. So in order to do their escape from the camp, they're gonna have to carry her. Bellamy still wants to stay at camp for some reason. Clarke wants him to leave with the rest of the group. She says that people listen to him and that they need him. That is his weakness. Well done.
Those kids out there, they listen to you. They're lining up to go. They listen to you more. I gave them an easy choice. 5 minutes ago, they were willing to fight and die for you. You inspire them. And I'm afraid we're going to need that again before this day is through.
So they actually do start leaving from camp, and Bellamy does join them, as opposed to being the only person who stays behind. That makes sense. And honestly, this really on the nose, but really cool song starts playing.
Pretending life is worth the fight.
I first listened to it in 2014 from this show, and I still have it in one of my playlists that I listen to all the time. So Bellamy decides to leave with them. Clarke and Bellamy look back at camp, and Clarke says that Bellamy did good there. Bellamy says that there are 18 people dead, but Clarke says 82 are alive. 83, let's not forget, Bellamy didn't count as part of the 100. It was 101. Continue. But still, he did good. Octavia is in her girl boss, final form era. For this season at least. And while people are walking, talking, chatting, she actually is paying attention. She stops them, motions for them to shut up. And then a boomerang comes out of nowhere and slices this guy's face in half. I can't show you that, but oh my God. So now they've all ran back into camp. No more escape plan. Lincoln had told them to leave camp. That was their best option before the scouts got there, the scouts are there. So they decide to stay at camp and to hold down the fort and fight. And Bellamy snaps right back into captain mode, tells everyone to get into position, including Octavia.
Oh, you're not a gunner. No, I'm not. Like you said, I'm a grounder.
And yeah, out of everyone here, she is probably the one who's the most capable of taking care of herself and handling herself in a fight. And again, a great part and a great thing about this show is that I can't help but feel pride and, dare I say, joy when these teenagers are running to go into war, because we see characters like Jasper, who used to be a bumbling mess, run headfirst into combat, into his new position as a gunner. And we see Octavia being fearless and not having to convince herself that she's not afraid anymore, because she truly isn't afraid anymore.
While editing, I also realized that Jasper's so excited to get to the front lines that he does it not once, but twice. Here, and oh, here he is again. Hi, Jasper. And I feel like this only slightly taints an otherwise perfect finale episode. Anyway, carry on.
Everyone rallies together and they're working together and they have this sense of unity, but they are preparing to go into war and to off some more grounders, and they're going to escalate this conflict even further. The grounders are probably in their own camp having very similar moments, very similar bonding experiences over this common enemy and this invader that just came from the sky. Their leaders are probably also giving very similar pep talks, but we don't get to see any of that, and neither do the 100. And we haven't been following them for the past 12 hours. We don't know most of their names. We don't know their stories. We don't know their motivation. We just know that they are a threat to our crew by simply existing, just like the 100 pose a threat to their crew by simply just existing. And just by having landed on their territory by chance and wanting a safe place to live. So good! Clark, Bellamy, Finn, and Raven are planning what to do. They have their sort of own little council. They even have a little table, and their plan is to draw the grounders in to get everyone inside the dropship, and then they will use the fuel from the engines to make the dropship into a bomb. They don't need to create a bomb, they just need to activate the one that they are already inside of, setting off an explosion that will barbecue the grounders real good. Our Raven girly, who is the one orchestrating all of this and making sure everything works, cannot feel her legs anymore. Clark tells her that the bullet is in her spine and that she's bleeding internally.
The doctor said all my bleeding was internal. That's where the blood's supposed to be.
Finn remembers that the grounders had some sort of like blood coagulant agent thingy, which would help to slow down Raven's internal bleeding and hopefully buy her more time, because he cares about her, but also because she is the only person that would be able to carry out this plan. So they don't really have a choice. Because Raven can't use her legs and she can't really move, Clark is helping her to set everything up. And Raven has this moment of vulnerability, saying that she used to be picked first for everything. For Earth survival skills classes, for being a zero-G mechanic. Unclear if she means this because of Finn, because Finn picked Clark and not her. And in that case, ew. Or if it's her legs, because she fears that she's not going to be able to do any of these things again if she's not able to walk again. But Clark says,
so how the hell did I end up here? Hey, Raven, I'd pick you first. Of course you would. I'm awesome.
Okay. Yeah, actually, screw Finn. Just let my two favorite ladies get together. We're just gonna have to keep jumping back and forth for this episode. It just makes sense. It's how the episode is structured. It makes it a lot more exciting. I'm already combining a bunch of scenes together. You're welcome. But this is how it's gonna go. Their plan to get the Ark on the ground is in motion. They are walking the pleb through the plans. And they also say some stations will explode and that they can't predict which ones.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
But it is possible for some stations with people inside to survive. Everything is ready. People are ready to leave. They're about to depart. But they learn that separation cannot be done remotely as they initially fought, so someone has to manually do it. And Cain gets up to do it himself. He is ready to sacrifice himself and his life so his people can go home. Growth, 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 growth. Abby is trying to talk him down from it, and he tells her that salvation comes at a price, which will continue to be a theme throughout the show, and especially in Cain's storyline. But again, something about it seems very religion adjacent. Isn't that a quote from somewhere in the Bible? But now we've seen Cain go through all of these changes. He is no longer the devout altar boy. He is no longer a true believer or the defactor who doesn't believe. He is now the savior. Is Cain Jesus? He's even walking out of their section and people are holding his hand and giving him thanks. That's not where I thought the religion salvation allegory was going at all. And I don't even think it was intentional from the show, but that's definitely the vibes that I'm getting.
This is even funnier when you realize that this actor actually has played Jesus before.
Bet you didn't see me coming, an ex-Catholic Christian girly with too much time in her hands and enough knowledge from the Bible to piece all of these things together. So, okay, Cain is almost Jesus because Jaha beats him to it. The ultimate martyr. TM, truly. No one can out Jesus Jaha. So Jaha does sacrifice himself. He made it to the command center to let everyone go and leave to the ground. He's talking to Abby over the radio, and he's saying that he is right where he's supposed to be. He is going down with his ship. Abby is going to the ground, and she's going to see her daughter. And Jaha is going to see his son. According to Sinclair, he will have a week of oxygen max. Back at camp, our shooters are starting to see grounders in the trees, and Bellamy can't find Octavia.
She thinks she's a damn samurai.
I mean, yeah, and she's good at it. Jasper realizes that the grounders aren't trying to attack. They're trying to get them to waste bullets, so they're just running around. They're not really attacking. Yay, go Jasper! Not yay. The grounders hear this over their walkie-talkies because Murphy either goes to them and offers up this information in the walkie-talkie, or most likely they get Murphy again and torture him. Either way, he is not having a good time. Good. So the grounders decide that it's time to attack. Bellamy almost croaks during the attack, but then Octavia sneaks up behind the guy and just slices a knife through his skull. Oh my God, a baddie? Baddie final form. Let's go. She gets shot by an arrow in the leg, though. Jasper is being extra helpful in this episode. Apparently he can splinter a cable, whatever that means, something Clark can't do. So he goes from being a shooter on the front lines to go to the dropship to help Raven and Clark. Him and Clark are trying to keep Raven talking, to keep her awake, but she passes out. And Clark gets out of there, and she tells Jasper to finish the job, and she starts gathering people and telling them to come into the dropship. It's time. Meanwhile, the Ark is coming down, baby. We see a bunch of people expiring mid-entering the atmosphere, but so far, Abby seems alive and well in her little station. Finn finds Lincoln. Finn gets the thing that he needs to help Raven. Finn gets an idea to do with the Reapers. He's bringing the Reapers in. He draws them to camp. The Reapers are, in fact, acting as a distraction. They're also fighting the Grounders. And Bellamy is trying to carry Octavia back to camp because of the whole arrow in the leg thing. And Lincoln finds them. And he assesses Octavia's wound. And he says that he can help her, but she needs to go with him. Bellamy agrees, and he says that she can't stay, even though Octavia protests because she wants to see this through.
I told you my life ended the day you were born. The truth is, it didn't start until then. So go with him. I need you to live.
And why is this the scene that's gonna make me cry the most? I just had a lash lift. I'm not supposed to get them wet for like 48 hours. Grounders are done being distracted by the Reapers. I guess they're not that bad. After all, they're not that brutal. Clarke tries to get as many people into the dropship as she possibly can, but a lot of people are still out, including Bellamy. And he's fighting them. He's being a badass. He's trying to get onto the ship until the Grounder leader gets him. And then Finn picks up a weapon, shoots the guy, and then body slams him to the ground to save Bellamy. But they are running out of time. They have to get into the dropship, and they have to set off that bomb. Otherwise, they're all toast. More Grounders are coming into the camp, and Clarke is seeing this, and she knows she needs to do something, so she takes one last glance at Finn, who nods his head, and she runs back into the ship, and she pulls the lever that is going to close the door and is going to end hundreds of lives, including some of her friends. Remember that. And remember that gesture. Anya actually manages to get inside the ship. How? And also, why? She is so outnumbered, but she still tries to fight them all. And the 100, of course, want to kill her, but Clarke says no. And they set off the bomb. It goes off, and then we get a little CGI animation of everyone outside being burnt to a crisp and be turned into literal skeletons. And then we see one singular person who is not CGI. I don't think, I'm pretty sure that's practical effects, and that's quite cool. And he's burning alive, trying to walk out of camp. That sucks. Cool shot though. Clarke saying, "We are not Grounders. We're not going to murder this Grounder leader in cold blood," as she pulls the lever to kill hundreds is crazy. Hey, she's a complicated lady. Jaha, up in the Ark, is trying to communicate with anyone that has mated to Earth, and Abby and her station have made it. They're back. She steps outside. She feels the sun on her face. She smells the fresh air, and it's gorgeous, and it's making me want to go out into nature. And Jaha asks that she describes it to him. Kane also comes out of the station where they were. They were in the Mecha station, Brazil, and they made it. They're gonna go look for the other survivors from the Ark, and Abby is going to find Clarke, and Jaha leaves the control center, and he goes to look out of a window onto Earth. He opens up a bottle of an unknown liquor, and the label says "to be opened on Earth." They didn't call it the ground back then. And he drinks it and just looks out onto Earth alone on the Ark. The 100, or I guess the 80 or the 70 something now, step out of the dropship post barbecue to see the destruction that was left. Clarke sees two skeletons who she believes are Bellamy and Finn, or at least representing Bellamy and Finn. But she doesn't have any time to process anything because smoke bombs appear out of nowhere, and people in hazmat suits with guns come and they get them. And we fade to white. We fade back in. Clarke is very clean in bed with an IV in her arm in what looks like a very sterile hospital room. Doesn't look like the ground at all. And she looks outside the window and she sees Monty. He's alive. And also in this hospital facility looking thing. And she reads a sign and she realizes that they are in Mount Weather. That's it. That's the end of season 1. Guys, I have such bad news. I have like 5 hours worth of footage so far. And I have so many thoughts. To the final thoughts. I have just accidentally deleted 2 hours worth of footage, and I'm trying to recover it as we're recording this right now. Please pray for me.
Warning, warning. I know I look incredibly shiny in the face. I recorded this during a heat wave. I've tried to fix it in post. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. If you're annoyed by it, believe me, I am too. And if you comment on it, I'm coming to your house.
In the meantime, it is now daytime. I'm not sick anymore, and we're in Mount Weather, baby. Final thoughts. Initially, I thought I was going to spend a lot more time talking about the things that I didn't like, but the truth is,
the list is not that long. Like, it's a big list in the sense of that it carries a lot of weight, but there are a very limited number of things that I really did not like. Plus, I want to talk about themes and get philosophical about it. So let's just speed run this. Things I did not like. Cringy dialogue just about sums it up. I saw a TikTok that had some scenes from The 100 and it said, "What in the Disney Channel?" And that sums it up perfectly. It's awful. It made me want to crawl out of my skin, but it doesn't stick around for very long. It's not the most prominent part of the show, but I understand why it put off a lot of viewers when they were initially watching it and they kind of just discarded it as another cringy made for teenager show. The pacing problem. Related to this, season 1's pacing is quite uneven. The first 4 episodes kind of drag in places. The middle section has a couple of filler episodes that no one cares about. And this difference in pacing, I think, also contributed for some people not wanting to watch it anymore, which is a shame because the second part of the season is, I think, some of the best television that came out that year. But yeah, when I said that season 1 felt like 24 episodes, I meant it. I was shocked when I saw that it was just half of that. This might not make me very popular considering the audience that I'm targeting, but American centrism. Maybe it's because I'm a non-American who is watching a TV show which is made by Americans for an American audience. But what the hell? Why is everyone American? Everyone in charge in the Ark is American. Scratch that. Everyone in the Ark is American. They said that the 12 nations merged and still everyone just speaks English. You never hear any other languages, and it hasn't even been 100 years. Languages don't disappear in 100 years. They don't say when the nations merge, so it was probably even earlier than, the 97 years since the exodus from Earth. And still, the chancellor is American. Everyone in the council is American. Everyone's names are American. When I say American, I mean also just like English speaking with an American accent. And yeah, of course I can unsuspend my disbelief to know that the actors were American, or some of them, as we've seen. The showrunners were American. They filmed in Vancouver. It's a budget and a production reality that people are going to be speaking in an American accent. But still, as a European, I know that I'm more prone to be sensitive about these things, but if I see a Brazilian flag, I expect to hear some Portuguese, or at least have some sort of effort put into it. There is not a single moment in this season where anyone says anything in a different language in the Ark, or celebrates a non-American tradition, Unity Day doesn't count, or even acknowledges that other cultures exist. On this station, which is supposed to be the last remnant of human civilization, and of course we know the center of human civilization is the US. The show has absolutely no interest in this question, and it's kind of a shame because that story, like the political negotiation of merging 12 different nation states into one governing body while floating above a dying Earth, is genuinely fascinating and gets steamrolled over to get to the teenagers, which I understand. But still, I think it was a missed opportunity. Although who knows, maybe it was a little bit too real, hit too close to home. God forbid nations resolve things diplomatically and we explore and we get to see that process. Better give Charlotte her episode. I think this is also a symptom of the overall disease that plagues the season. In later seasons, the show actually becomes really good and clever about navigating different cultures and how they form and how they clash. The Grounder clans have distinct identities, languages, symbols, traditions. The show clearly understands later on that cultural identity is real and it matters and it's sophisticated. It fuels so many conflicts and so many alliances. But I guess they couldn't be bothered or didn't think to make that connection early on. Boy, I wonder if we touch on that again. Perhaps. Maybe in the last season. A full circle moment. Perhaps.
I need that.
It doesn't end here.
The only other concrete thing that I wrote down was Diana's motivation. I said it was silly. And I still think that. It's the weakest motivation as a villain the whole season. She's upset that Jaha lied to the people and omitted information. And she wants the people to have the truth, the working people. Or at least that's what she wants them to think. It's a classic sign of populism. So the answer to that lie is to lie to everyone and leave every person that would be staying on the Ark to die. Not just in general because the population was already dying, but as you leave, you know you're killing everyone there instantly. What the fuck? Speaking of populism, it is the perfect segue to get us started on our themes section, which is going to be intertwined with the things that I like, because that's my favorite part of the show. Themes. Populism. Diana's rallying of the working class, the pure people, against the corrupt elites is textbook populism. Populist leaders present themselves as the sole defenders of the popular will, prioritizing direct citizen demands over traditional institutions, which is funny to do when Diana herself used to be a part of said institutions and power structure. She used to be the chancellor and she's not anymore. But I think that that also speaks to the nature of populism. Finding a common enemy, rallying the population against them with no real connection to the people or what they want or what they need, just that by having their support, it makes her popular and powerful. The trolley problem. It will surprise absolutely no one that killing off 300 people to be able to save everyone else in the arc is just a giant trolley problem, which is heart-wrenching to watch, but still entertaining. And it was one of those episodes that kind of made me sit with the story and the plot and the implications, and it made me think about it a little bit. And I think it's always interesting when a piece of media is able to do that. If by any chance you are not familiar, the trolley problem is a classic ethics problem where a trolley is heading toward 5 people on some train tracks, and you can either pull a lever to direct the train, but if you do, it kills 1 person as opposed to the 5 people. Do you pull the lever? Do you actively kill 1 person in order to save the lives of 5 people? Is that the same as letting 5 people die? Is there a difference between action and inaction when the result is death? Either way. The 100 is obsessed with this question. It runs through every single major decision in the show in the beginning, but also towards the end. And season 2 amps it up even more, I guess you could say. In this season, Kane wants to float 300 people in order to save the other lives in the arc, which come up to a couple of thousand. Yeah, he killed a lot of people, but he also saved a lot more by doing the maths and weighing a life against a life, and the end result is more lives were saved. But did he even save a lot more people? Because turns out, if they had just not done anything in action, they would have been fine anyway, because yes, the oxygen was running out in the ark, but there's plenty of oxygen on Earth. The 300 people that died could have just come down to Earth and lived. But would they? Because turns out there weren't even enough lifeboats on this metaphorical Titanic to get everyone to the ground. And the ark ended up coming down, which killed hundreds more people in the process. And can Kane even be held responsible for killing all those people when in the end, they volunteered? They put themselves on the train tracks. They didn't pull the lever. Do you see what I mean? There are also other smaller instances of this throughout the show. In this season, Abby saves Jaha by using more medical supplies than what she is allowed. And she's breaking the rules to save 1 person at the cost of resources that belong to everyone. But the person that she saves is their leader. He inspires confidence, security, stability. You could argue that him being alive automatically saves more lives because it keeps the status quo and it keeps the order. This also introduces subsequent levels of the trolley problem. What if the 5 people that were going to get run over by the train were actually murderers? And if they were alive, they would just go on to kill a bunch more people. And the 1 person was a doctor, a philanthropist, a firefighter. Would you pull the lever? The show never answers this question of what is right, what is wrong, but they do keep asking it louder and louder each time. Tribalism and social identity theory. Okay, let me get a little bit academic for a second because I think it's worth it, and also because I need to justify my master's in international relations. There's a concept in social philosophy called social identity theory, developed by psychologist Henry Teifel, I want to say, who interestingly was a Jewish prisoner of war, which means he developed his theory of how groups turn on each other from direct personal experience. His findings were essentially that humans derive a core part of their sense of selves from the groups that they belong to. And the moment you belong to a group, you automatically perceive the people that are outside of that group as a threat. Not because they've done anything, not because there's an actual conflict, just because they are not you. It's us versus them. Not as a response to danger per se, but a precondition to it. And there's more. Research shows that we tend to see our own group as complex, varied, full of individuals. But we see the other group as a homogenous mass, all the same, all equally threatening. We are complicated people with reasons and grievances and desires and history. They are just them. Sound familiar? The sky people land on the ground and they immediately call the grounders the grounders. One undifferentiated hostile mass in the trees. Not people with names and families and political structures and internal disagreements, just threat. Them. And the grounders look at the 100 kids who fell out of the sky and see exactly the same. An invasion and a foreign body, us versus them situation that requires a response. And here is my favorite part of the show. I don't think anyone is wrong. You can argue that the sky people are in danger, and the grounders' territory is definitely being encroached on. The threat is real on both sides. Here, tribalism isn't portrayed as only irrational, but a logical response to fear and scarcity of resources, of land, which is a little bit more disturbing than if it was just prejudice. Of course, there still is a lot of prejudice. That's the whole point of tension later on in the season. There are preemptive attacks from both sides to protect each side out of fear that the others are going to attack. So we need to attack first. The show also gives us a glimpse of whether this cycle can be broken. Can Clark and Anya, as the leaders of each group, sit at a table, put their respective differences and suffering aside to avoid an even bigger, more catastrophic suffering? And then one scared person with a gun makes a decision based on fear, and the whole thing collapses. Tashfeld's research found that people would also form in-group loyalty and out-group hostility even when assigned to groups completely at random. Even when groups meant nothing. They had no history, no shared values, no conflict. Just being told you are in this group and they are in that group was enough to generate a bias. This is obviously exacerbated when the groups share a history, grievances, actual dead people. For us watching the show, and especially me at 14, it's easy to start it by relating to the 100. It's what we're meant to do, not only for the historical similarities, but also because we follow them, their stories and relationships and desires and fears. We only get to see a grounder individual as a person halfway through the season. Of course, we're going to bond more with the 100, but as the show goes on and the 100 evolve and explore the earth and have to make very complicated choices, you start not wanting to identify with them anymore. Lord of the Flies. Can this be considered a theme? If you haven't read Lord of the Flies, I haven't either. It wasn't required reading in most Portuguese public high schools, okay? Maybe it should be. Even for someone who has not read the book or seen the film, the similar premise slaps you in the face in a way that it's impossible to ignore, even for me. Quick context. In the 1954 novel, Lord of the Flies, a group of British schoolboys get stranded on an island after their plane gets shot down. No adults. No rules. There are two leaders that emerge in this situation. Ralph, elected, rational, trying to maintain order and keep a signal fire that they have going so that they can be rescued. Then there's Jack, who is charismatic, instinctive, and who looks around at an island with no adults and no responsibilities or consequences and says, why are we doing this? We can do whatever the hell we want. The showrunner, Jason Rothenberg, has cited Lord of the Flies as a direct influence for the 100, so it could not be subtext if it tried. Clark is clearly Ralph. She is right about everything, constantly being ignored, and watching her carefully built order that she cherishes so much being dismantled by someone more charismatic. Bellamy is Jack, defiant, able to rally people, inspiring but impulsive. Murphy is Roger, whoever that is. And the wristbands are the signal fire. In Lord of the Flies, the signal fire is the boys' connection to civilization. And every time Jack tries to sabotage it, it's not just tactical, it's symbolic. The wristbands keep a portion of the group tethered to the society that they are trying to get back to. And Bellamy weaponizes their removal as liberation. Some differences. First one is that I don't think Jack murdered a high-level political figure in their old civilization and has that as a driving factor for not wanting to go back. And two is that unlike in the novel, the arc is not a straightforward straightforward, perfect, pure civilization that is worth returning to. It imprisons children. It floats people for minor crimes. It omits information from their population. It considers murdering 300 people a reasonable policy. While Ralph's signal fire points towards a civilization worth saving and returning to, I think Clark's wristband points towards something a little bit more complicated and nuanced, and you could say a more mature outlook on civilization, which isn't all good. The novel's answer to the question, what happens when the rules disappear, is that we revert. Humans are animals at their core, and civilization is a performance that we maintain under supervision only. It's very cheerful. And the 100 refuses that answer, or at least it refuses that that is the only answer that there is. First, because it doesn't make the arc out to be a perfect civilization. And also because while some characters fall into the same archetypes, for example, Clark isn't fully Ralph. At the end, broken, wanting to be rescued, whining about his life. She pivots and she makes choices. Very hard, very questionable choices. And the show more so asks whether those choices were right or if they were worth it. What qualifies as being worth it, rather than simply, was order restored? I do hate to do this, but the other seasons touch on this even more. So we will have to wait for the continuation of this analysis until then. And of course, if any of this was sounding similar to you outside of the 100, yes, there is another very popular TV show about a group of people that land on a deserted island after their plane gets shot down. Then having to deal with the mysteries of the place where they now are and all of the philosophical, ethical complications that come with it. Lost itself draws inspiration from Lord of the Flies and puts its own twist on it with the mysteries within the island. And The 100 draws inspiration from both Lord of the Flies and Lost and puts its own twist on it. To finish, what I'm now seeing is a final thoughts compliment sandwich. Here are the things that I liked. Color palette. I'm sorry for the mental whiplash of the depth of topics that I'm bringing up in this section, but I like the colors in this season. It's giving a little like me turning up the saturation all the way up on my Instagram in 2014, but it's a sign of the times. The colors are so vibrant. Everything is so green. It did make me go out into nature. We get some really gorgeous bioluminescence shots that I don't think we really see for the rest of the show. You know what made me like the colors even more? Was watching season 1 in retrospect. After rewatching some episodes from later seasons, I gotta say, I miss the sunshine. I miss the colors. I realized how bright and colorful everything is, especially in the first few episodes. Everything is so light and innocent. And obviously that reflects also our characters' storylines and how they develop. We meet them as these young, naive, bright-eyed people excited to explore this new world and their own freedom. And as the seasons go on and their day-to-day changes, maybe intentionally, maybe not, the darkest seasons of the 100 in theme are also their darkest in terms of color palettes. That could also have to do with the show, much like myself as a teenager, maturing and opting for more muted, discreet colors, gravitating towards less vibrant color stories. I think that's what the later seasons do up until like season 5. I think that season 6 and 7 also tell a story. Season 7, because it's very clinical, kind of sterile. So the colors are also kind of like that, kind of Mount Weather, kind of like this. And season 6 looks like a fever dream because it was. Abby and Clark. I love them individually. I love their relationship. I buy them as a mother-daughter dynamic. I love that they are so similar, but they think that they're so different. I like that they're a reflection of each other, but at different stages. I mentioned this already, but the show is not very in your face about Clark's change of opinion regarding giving their people all of the information that they have or not, which is something that she initially highly criticizes her mother for, also because her dad died because of it, but also she ended up agreeing with it by the end. Her final call to burn a bunch of grounders alive, though, pulling the lever to do so, that will surely have lasting impacts on her relationship with her mother, but also herself. I like the women in the show in general, genuinely. It manages to have a good balance of main characters being men or women. Unfortunately, I do not think that we have any non-binary representation on the show. Our main characters are just themselves, regardless of their gender, doing what they're good at. The leader of the 100 is a woman, a 17-year-old girl, but still. The Grounders group leader that we first meet, Anya, I don't think they've explicitly said this in season 1, but the commander of the Grounders, I know, is also a woman. Abby is the chief medical officer and essentially runs the Ark when it matters. Raven is the resident mechanic. Octavia is the fighter. I love being able to watch a show that reflects and showcases all of the complexities and intricacies of women being themselves and doing what they're good at, and not have the show be super in your face about it or super like, oh, look how progressive this is. We have a woman leader. It just kind of is what it is. Especially in 2014, it was like pretty spectacular. Speaking of women, I like the relationship between them and how different they are from other shows and media in 2014. Season 1 is only our first inkling of it. I'm mostly talking about Raven and Clark, how in other shows it would be very easy and stereotypical to just pit them against each other and have them fight over Finn and insulting each other's character because of a man. It kind of never happens. Yeah, they have a weird vibe going on because they like the same guy and they're not best friends by any means. They don't blame each other and they don't take it out on the other person. They're both quite understanding. Clark ends the season caring a lot about Raven, and same thing the other way around. I enjoy how they can separate having their common goal, whatever, from how awesome the other person is and how they need each other to survive. It's something we don't see a lot in media, especially at this point in time when the show is coming out. I do feel like this is something that has been consistently changing with recent media, and shows in 2026 are not going to be applauded for doing that, thankfully. But I would like to give the 100 its flowers for this. It's not the only topic that the 100 is going to be kind of pioneering from now on. That is the end of, I assume, our gigantic The 100 Season 1 recap. I had such an amazing time rewatching the show and an even better time writing all my notes and ideas for what I wanted to share with you. And now they are yours. In conclusion, I fucking love the show and I cannot wait to get started with season 2. I think it might be my favorite season. I'll leave my socials below if you want to follow me anywhere. And if you're in need of some productivity and possibly want to catch me working on The 100 Season 2, you can join our virtual office on Twitch. And I'll see you in the next one. Is this a safe space to share with you a freakout that I had while I was editing this video? Guess who was in Brussels for Comic-Con the weekend that I was recording the first video?
Hi guys!
Hey guys!
We are going to Brussels.
May 2nd and 3rd.
Yes, Brussels Comic-Con. Comic-Con Brussels.
Comic-Con Brussels. We're going to be there. We can't
Yes.
wait to meet you guys. All right,
We will
guys.
see you in Brussels. Comic-Con Brussels.
Comic-Con Brussels,
Yeah.
May 2nd, 3rd.
Yeah.
What are the odds of that? No one comes to Brussels. No one has a brother. You don't understand. I'm devastated. You want to know how I found out? I follow Eliza on Instagram and I saw she posted a picture saying they were in Europe. And I thought, oh, that's so cute. Wait, what is this? That looks like Belgium. Ha ha ha. I look at the geotag. It says Belgium. I Google it. They were at Comic-Con. I could have gone to Comic-Con. She also said thank you to the 100 fandom for keeping the show alive, and I would like to think that she is talking directly to me. They were walking in Bois de la Cambre. What do you mean? But also, how surreal would it be to just see the people that you've been looking at for months and that you're writing a media analysis video on just walking around your daily commute park? I think I would have had a stroke. Actually, I don't know if it would have been a very good idea to even hypothetically have the opportunity to talk to Eliza Taylor, because I spent this whole video saying that teenage me had a crush on her husband. But it's okay, because adult me has a crush on her. It's 9 a.m. I have to go to work now. Bye.